pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call this meeting so that we wanted to see what the status is of all of our different areas, ambulance, fire, and the city, and how we plan on going forward with what's going on here. Things are changing fast. They used to change by the week, now then it was by the day, and now it's by the hour. So, to get started out, we are going to start out with the status of, I'm going to start with you, Karen, since you are emergency management director. I just wanted a little bit of an update, how things are, yep. And then I will call on the ambulance and the fire after that. Okay. And we want to know if you have concerns or if the things that you need.
Okay. We just, the department, the emergency department heads just met. And I also talked to Chief Deputy Templin today at the Sheriff's Office about the response that we're going to get from the county. Our biggest concern right now, I guess mine from a law enforcement perspective, is just getting our hands on additional personal protective equipment, PPE. It's just, I've spent pretty much most of my day on the phone, and I was told that we wouldn't be able to get some till June. I just had a conversation with Dana, and they successfully got some, so I'm going to try again tomorrow at some different places. But just keeping our people safe is the biggest thing. Other than that, we're staffed on emergency level and ready to go. I did speak with Chief Deputy Templin about dispatch. We have a lot of people in dispatch who are cross-training and whatnot on if there's going to be some protocols on the questions that they're asking for screening, so we know what we're going into, which has been a problem in the past, even before this virus came out. I mean, sometimes we're dispatched to one thing and we show up and it's quite something different. So he said there are going to be some protocols that are going to be passed down for training for the jail staff. The jail staff, by the way, is all on quarantine, so only people who absolutely need to be booked will go in and out. So, but other than that, that's as far as it's went right now. So, yeah, but
As far as the police department?
Yes.
Staffing, you have people that you can call, backup?
we do, yes. We have no issues with staffing right now. One of our officers as a child, I discussed, just issues, any issues that would come up, and there's no issues right now. So just with, schools being canceled and whatnot. So we're ready to go, staffed like we always have been, and to see no issues.
CDC, they had some guidelines for the state of Minnesota, and that's
Yes.
what we're
Yep.
looking at right now.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I think we talked about was mostly, just responding to medicals as a, and equipment. That's going to be the next couple days what I'm going to get my hands on, try to get my hands on, just some additional, because I don't have a large stock in the PD of like gowns and things like that. We never needed it before. We never really needed anything past masks and gloves. So I will be, looking to, when I find a supplier that is charging a couple $100 of supplies.
All right.
Just for that.
That sounds great.
Otherwise, we're in good shape.
All right, thank you. Ed?
So as far as the ambulance goes, we have a fair supply of PPE stuff. We are missing, we don't really have any face shields, but we have goggles. I don't have a lot of gowns, but there are alternatives out there. I mean, Karen and I just talked about if we can't find gowns, but we can find large garbage bags. I mean, all you're doing is protecting yourself from the spray of the cough or whatever. I sent Jenny a copy of the directives that we were given by Dr. Saprell on what we need to do to prepare ourselves to go in there to a situation like that. Again, like Karen said, I reached out to the county and said, what are we doing for asking these questions? Because if we get there and we walk in the house and they're hacking and coughing and they're infected, it's too late at that point. We need to know before we get there so we can gown up and get ready to go in. So to me, that's priority one. And Mr. Mayor, if you can throw some magic in there and force the issue a little faster than we've been able to do, I mean, this is something that we need to know. I mean, is it going to affect us today, tomorrow? Maybe, maybe not. But in 6 weeks down the road, we have to be prepared, and we always have to, whether we believe it or not, we have to follow the guidelines that we're given. I guess that's about the way I should say that. I also provided the latest OSHA guideline specific to the coronavirus, and I believe that was sent out to everyone as well. And that's not just only for EMS, that's for all employers that are required to provide safe work environments. And then, of course, we can all go to the CDC and look at the map and see where the cases are. There's not a lot in Minnesota, but there's enough to matter, 54, 58, something like that. Renville County does have a confirmed case, which is pretty close to us, and Carver does have a confirmed case, so.
So the supplies that you're needing, what did you said you had supplies on hand, but masks and gowns?
Full masks we don't have, and we could use more gowns. And again, that's something we've just never,
Shop face shields work?
that's what I want, is some shot. Where at?
You should be able to get those locally. Those are still out there.
Okay. Yeah,
He's local, so.
Those don't have to be thrown away. You can
No,
just
they
have
can
no, they can be, yep. Okay. Did you say Napa's got?
Yeah, he still had safety glasses today. So.
Okay.
Is there any special protocol that you'll have before the entire crew goes in there?
So, if we're going to a response, we typically have 3 on a call, and all 3 that will go into the house or into the residence, they will be required to be gowned and masked and gloved and everything before they go in. Yes, that'll be a requirement if we suspect it's going to be a corona case.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
I don't think so. Any questions for me?
I talked to our commissioner today, and they're having their emergency meeting tomorrow.
Who's that?
Our commissioner?
Oh, okay.
Yep. And I made a friendly suggestion that and Karen alluded to this with the jail staff, they get the dispatchers trained to ask questions before they start pushing the dispatch button. Traditionally, we have PD showing up and fire showing up on an ambulance call. Is that something we should be doing in this situation? Should they show up and wait outside as a reserve force? Do we want to expose more people?
Yeah. So the only reason we would have fire there is if we need assistance lifting, and that would be requested after we're there, and they'll be well aware of what they're walking into.
I was alluding to that they not send them for.
Yes. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
If you go you're going to one that
Right.
is exhibiting or probably isn't.
Right. And the thing with PD, and Karen, you can pass this along to your officers too, is if it's a suspected corona case and it's just coughing and fever and they just need to go to the hospital, there's really no reason for your officers to go in, because it's not a cardiac situation where they could have to start CPR
You
or
need
do
more
something
clarification from the county, the
Right.
dispatcher,
like that. Yep.
as to what it is.
That would save exposures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you guys do lift assists also,
We do. Yep.
both, if you do.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I don't have anybody else. All right? Sir?
Evening. So, we're in a little different boat. We don't typically respond to the medical calls as the ambulance. We go if there's a car accident or if they request a medical assist. Over the years, Dale, you said, if they page out both, and it has probably happened, I'm sure. But we're working on getting our protocols put out to our guys. So the plan's gonna be, if we do get that medical assist call, we're gonna roll out our rescue truck and our grass rig and, seat belted seats. Whoever shows up, those are the guys going. We're gonna stay back at the curb. Officer in charge is gonna communicate with the EMS crew on site. Do you need one guy in? Do you need 2 guys? We're only gonna send in what we need for personnel, so we risk and minimize our exposure. As far as equipment wise, we're kind of in the same boat. We don't have the gowns, the gloves, or we have gloves, and the respirator masks. But we do have, our turnout gear. We have, we got air packs. Now that there's sounds like there may be a chance to get some equipment. That's kind of where we've been at too, a little bit. I've looked, that it's just, you know, they're telling you it's not available. So we may look at getting some of the disposable gowns. You know, we have our face shields on our helmets, you know, so we're gonna go in with our guys protected, whether it's with turnout gear and, you know, if we have a case, you know, we're gonna know what we're walking into because the ambulance are gonna be there. So, otherwise, yeah, I think we're sitting pretty good. I'm gonna get our new guideline out here in a couple days to our guys, so they're aware of how we're gonna respond, so.
Okay. One other question I had, we spoke about it just a little bit, but this is for you too, Ed. As far as meetings, you know, if you have all of the fire department there and you're doing a meeting and you find out a day later that one of your people had been exposed, now they have all been exposed. Are you going to hold off on your meetings for maybe a month, or is there other ways you can meet?
Yeah, it's a good point. I never thought of that, Mayor.
You know, I guess I've given it a little bit of thought, but I haven't, you know, we just had our meeting, our last meeting here a week ago, and training a week before that, so we're a couple weeks out. But with everything changing by the hour, by the time our next meetings come around, they may, you know, so I'm kind of been playing it by ear, but, you know, in our current state as of today, we would probably cancel our next training and
Non-essential training.
Non-essential, you know.
But, go ahead, did you have?
Yeah, I just asked Jenny, you guys aren't bound by the open meeting law, so you can do telephonic. So you could go to conference center and do a conference call, and you could do it not just monthly, you guys could, the gals could update.
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 days, as you get more information, you get to be on the same page.
Yep, and I've been letting all my firemen know, be checking your email every day, daily, because anytime I got something, I'm putting it out on email to them. They've all got email. Some have it more readily available, and they check it on their phone. Others, you know, it's by their computer. But I told them to be checking that on a daily basis, so as things change. And yeah, you know, some sort of a meeting like that via phone or with like the officers, that might be a good route to go to instead of a regular meetings. And
I think it's a good idea to talk to your people also. Be careful with too many of them meeting the, that would be my biggest fear. is
Yep.
Suddenly we
Yep.
have
You know-
department down.
Take
Yeah.
our own selves out.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You know, and I know one thing you've asked, or there's been a question about cross-training members. You know, one thing with the fire department, we are all pretty well cross-trained. You know, we've got some past chiefs that are on the department that aren't, you know, one that's not even an officer. So we've got pretty good knowledge of guys. So if Troy, or, you know, if we happen to be sick, and that's the other thing I'm gonna put out, is if any of our firemen are showing any signs of the symptoms, that they stay home from calls. I don't want them responding, you know, so that they don't respond and get everybody else sick, so.
Very good.
Alrighty,
Any questions from anybody
yeah,
else?
any questions?
Keep it up.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
If you need something, let us know.
Will do, thank you.
All right. Troy?
I pretty much same as Justin. We're pretty much cross-trained, all three of us now. We can run the water plant. You know, basically what we do is go around in the day, check the pumps, everything, make sure it's still going. All three of us can do it. There's another couple guys on backup we can call that don't work for the city anymore, but are trained. So
Okay, but as far as, if a few of you, you know, it's not so much that our people may be sick, but your family member or a mom or dad where you may have to go, so on and so forth. We have, I'm hoping we don't have a lot of snow removal yet, but that
Today was last day.
could be, I mean, do we have,
And it removed itself.
it may take a little longer.
Yeah.
If it's only two people, something like that.
no, and then we've had other people on reserve for snow too that said they would step up. So
And can they run our equipment?
yes, they have in the past. So
All right, so you feel comfortable?
I do.
Is there protective gear, PPE, anything like that?
You know, not really. Like you said, the essential stuff, we're not really going in anybody's house. You know, everybody's getting water meters, so we
You're not
don't,
doing shut-offs, I mean, we're putting that on hold, I'm assuming?
That's something we're gonna talk about.
yeah,
Non-essential.
Non-essential.
is all Put to
Yep.
the side.
pretty
Okay.
much.
You feel comfortable then?
Yep, water supply, that's good. You know, filter plant's always locked.
My understanding, this does not affect our water
Yep,
supply
right,
whatsoever.
so that's what I was gonna say.
Okay.
From what I've found out too, that, yeah, nothing with the water supply, so,
Okay,
We won't be, when somebody calls about a water problem, generally they call us first, and we send staff out to eliminate the city. We won't be going into people's houses anymore. We will be telling them they need to call a plumber first. We only work from the curb stop to to the main for water and at the main for the sewer.
Now, you three together are working quite a bit. Dale was talking about something about changing your shifts a little bit. I mean, is it, the only problem I have with one or two of them, OSHA requires
I know, I
2
understand
to
that.
3, and that would be
On
something,
certain
but
things, right.
Yeah.
do you think staggering shifts would make a difference, or do you think?
Or keeping one person out of the mix,
Yeah, it's something we can discuss and,
just an idea.
yeah. And I think it's the same as like Justin is, if someone's sick, don't show up. We discussed that this morning at a meeting. If you're not feeling good, don't
Come, and if
Don't come
you're
in.
not comfortable and you're afraid you're gonna get a family member sick, we will work around your schedule. If you have a compromised immune system, we want you to take care of yourself and your family first. We'll work around that.
And I think your Monday morning meetings, maybe, I don't want the entire city staff together getting sick. So I think we're gonna put those off for a while, and
Everyone's
I
gonna be
think
so sad.
individually,
Yeah,
yeah, do a conference call. So,
yeah. No, besides that, everything else is good. The only thing I get to mention is with, your toilet paper shortage, don't flush anything else down the toilet.
I think someone was put on Facebook about that.
Yes, but I'm just,
Gibbon had something on there
Yep.
too about it. Don't hesitate to contact your committee, or Jenny, if you need a committee meeting or if something has changed that needs attention right away.
Yep.
Let's not wait.
You're right, that bears a lot of repeating, because so many people think, oh, well, I can just flush that and
Yeah.
I'm fine.
no, it will cause a lot of trouble.
Yeah, don't call the city, call your plumber, because we're not coming in the house.
All right, great, thank
All
you. Jenny? Oh, one more thing I wanted to touch on was the mutual aid.
Well,
with
I'm
the-
gonna
Okay, good,
discuss that.
she's gonna cover it then.
We've met with all department heads, and like I said, we told them, if you're not feeling well, stay home. If you're worried about, we had a lot of people, today was due date, we had a lot of people in the building today, and I know there were some employees that were concerned about germs spreading, bringing home to their family. We discussed, if they're concerned about their safety or their family's safety, stay home. We'll work around your schedule. I know it's on the list to discuss closing the building, but if we decide not to, I know there is at least one staff person who will be working nights and weekends.
When you're
because-
talking about closing the building, you mean to the public?
To the public.
We're gonna be in here working, but,
Right, right.
and then we just relate to the public how to pay their bills, call instead of
Right,
coming in, that
right.
kind of thing.
So there are concerns, and we do have an employee that has a compromised immune system, and he's been told to stay home if he's not feeling well. I've been talking to other cities regarding plans to close their buildings to the public. Gaylord met tonight, they're closing their building. Fairfax is gonna be closing their building. Hector's closing theirs. New Auburn is not closing theirs at this time. Gaylord also canceled all public meetings as well. The library will be closed starting tomorrow for 2 weeks.
At least.
Okay. I talked to Aaron Walton regarding remote meetings. If this pandemic gets worse and we can't meet together as a council, how do we hold a public meeting if we can't have the public there? And there is a sheet, Minnesota statutes regarding telephone meetings. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but we would have to have one person, probably me, would be
Here.
here. We would have to have everybody call in. You'd have to be able to be heard on the recording. We would record the meeting, and you would have to be able to be heard, and we would have to do roll call votes for all the action taken. So our next meeting is until April 6th, so hopefully things will get better by then, but if not, that may be something we have to look at doing. Let's see, I talked to Bobby in New Auburn, we're gonna postpone the municipalities meeting indefinitely at this point. The recording of this meeting will be dropped off, on my way to work tomorrow in Gibbon. Wade's gonna put it on YouTube, I will be sharing it on our website and our Facebook page for people who were not able to attend tonight. I'm gonna be sending a summary of this meeting to neighboring cities and posting it on our Facebook page for people. I would also like to extend mutual aid to neighboring cities as far as water, sewer, electric, utility billing, payroll, and because, like Gibbon has one guy. If Ern gets sick, we need to be able to help our neighboring cities, and hopefully they would in turn help us if need be. that is something, you know, if it's okay with the council, I would like to let our neighboring cities know that
We
we're
need a
available.
motion on that.
Why don't you, yeah, it
So
probably,
moved.
Second.
Motion made by Dale, seconded by Rob to go ahead and extend the mutual aid agreement to the surrounding cities. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? If not, proceed to vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
and I just want to make
Motion
clear that
carries.
Winthrop would be our first priority. And if
Yeah.
our guys are sick and we can't afford to send somebody, we wouldn't. But this would be in the case where, you know, we were able to. The Wi-Fi is now on in the park. RS Fiber hooked it up today, and they have boosted the signal, so it'll be available for students who don't have internet at home to use. Let's see, blah, 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 I said that already. Oh, and the chamber had an emergency meeting, Grackle Days has been canceled, and business after hours has been postponed, so. Unless you have any questions for me, that's all I have.
And as far as if you get sick, or if a family member, or with one of the other staff, how would that be handled?
Well, we would have to see how we would handle that. We discussed, you know, if the building is closed off to the public and everybody else is sick, I would probably have to come in sick and just quarantine myself in my office and get work done. Or try to work from home as best I can.
You
know.
can work remotely?
I can try.
Okay.
It's not my first choice, but.
No,
Yeah,
absolutely not.
I'm hoping it doesn't come to that, and Melissa and I have also talked about maybe her and I taking separate days, so we're not here together. And then, you know, the chances of one of us being well when the other one's sick is better that way also, so we can stagger, you know, so one of us is.
Do we
is here.
want to wait on that, or do we want to implement?
Let's wait on that for now, and let's see how things go,
Okay.
so.
It's not forever. I mean.
No, it's not
Person gets
forever,
sick,
and I
what is it,
think-
14 days?
And depending on how you guys feel about the closing of the building, if we can keep the public out, that makes our chances of staying healthy better. And I'm not sure that Melissa would be willing to stagger workdays with me if the building was not closed.
Is there anything that would have to come into the building, that just can't be poo-pooed and
I
put off till
don't,
later?
I don't know, but what I would like the message to be is if you need to see somebody, please call and make an appointment, and I can make arrangements to meet with you upstairs or someplace besides the office where staff is working and deal with it at that point.
I'll entertain a motion. You know, when we say close the city building, we simply mean closing it to the public,
Close it to traffic.
close it to traffic, but
yeah.
then
But city,
letting people
city
know.
functions and
Yeah,
city
that
daily operations will
The
continue.
phone,
The phone
Someone
would
will
still
be
be
there.
answered. We'd be here if there's an outage, we can still conduct business. People can still pay their bills online, they can use the Dropbox.
yep.
You know, they can pay over the phone. There's many opportunities to be able to pay your bill, so.
So, if you want to restate my motion, I'll move it.
I'll entertain a motion to physically close the building but continue the operations of City Hall.
So moved.
Motion made by Rob and seconded by Julie. Is there any further discussion? Any further discussion? Yes.
Indefinitely, or 3 weeks, a
That's a
month?
good point.
I
Why
was,
don't we tie it in with the school closings?
Yeah,
So when the school closings comes off, we come off.
we can revisit
That way,
it.
if the schools, they're supposed to come off on the 27th, if the governor bounces it to the 6th,
what
we'll
if he
just follow the
closes it
schools.
the rest of the year?
That's what we did when we
Well,
were,
certainly follow the guidance from the state.
whatever the school closure is, we'll mirror.
I think
with
I
the
would
city.
like,
At least till our next.
I would like to do it till the next
Especially if you
council
conduct
meeting.
business through that glass window.
Yeah.
Stay away from your front
Yeah.
counter and conduct business through that glass window.
Keep the front door open, but the
Door open.
second door closed.
Keep the atrium open so they can enter that and talk through the glass.
Yeah, we could keep that,
Stay off that front
Excellent
counter.
idea, right.
yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, that
And I would
shouldn't
encourage
make
to
it-
not leave payments out there because they
No.
could be stolen.
Payments go in the box only.
Yeah.
Take a
yeah.
knock on the door and
Yeah.
whatever.
Or they could drop them in the library and return.
Yeah, they could use that too, but I like,
Could we do that, could we do this up until our next council meeting?
Sure.
Yep.
I'm concerned that the schools aren't gonna open this year.
And that's what I said, if we tag it along with the schools, at least we've got a guideline till the next council meeting.
Well, we can revisit it, so let's take it to April 6th and revisit it there and then extend it.
All right. The motion was made. Again, is there any further discussion?
Amend it again, yeah.
Any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The one thing we want to touch on is the utility bill payment arrangements for affected residents. We're not shutting anybody off at this time, I'm assuming, but I want to get that discussion going.
I've got a friend who got laid off today because he's got COPD. He's not sick, but he has a cough. His company said, you're out of there. He's a part-time employee. I was really happy when the governor, we talked about this before the meeting,
Yeah.
he can now get unemployment. He lives in the city, he pays the bills. He's a paycheck-to-paycheck kind of person.
You might also be eligible for short-term disability under his healthcare plan.
Exactly. But my point is, we have enough in water reserve, electric reserve, and sewer reserve. I think we should suspend payments for 2 months. No interest, no late fees, and we should encourage you to make your payment or a partial payment if you can. But if you can't, we'll let it float.
But they will be due at some point.
But they
Yeah,
will be doing
yes,
in
yeah.
2 months.
Okay.
You'll pay, I'd be willing to do it.
But I would ask those people, please call the city and notify.
So we know.
You have to make arrangements prior.
Make arrangements
So-
that,
Agree
that
wholeheartedly.
I'm struggling, got laid off. I'm sure there's gonna be lots of layoffs coming,
there are.
unfortunately.
So do we want that,
I mean, do you think 2 months is too much?
No,
No.
as long as they're calling and making arrangements so that we know, and then it's not a,
Say, we know, so.
So if they've called the city and made arrangements, the late fees, et cetera, would be
Waived.
waived. But if they don't
Then they will
make any
incur.
arrangements, they'll
Right.
still stand.
yeah.
That seems,
so once our 2 months is up, how much time are we gonna give them to make the bills up?
3 months.
Sounds good to me.
Okay,
That'll alleviate a lot of cash payments coming to the office, which takes out
right.
that.
And I'd like to
Okay,
know
so
about
suspend
that.
payments for 2 months, no late fees, must contact,
City for
Hall.
arrangements. And 3
and that's
months.
for residents
Notify.
and businesses?
yes, I would say.
And
yeah,
3
straight
months.
across.
And then
3
three,
months to
after the
make
2
it-
months, you have 3 months to make it up.
To get
Okay.
back to square. Yeah.
Because there's gonna be businesses that are
Yep.
probably gonna get shuttered.
Absolutely.
2 months.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion stating everything. Do you want to read that back?
I will,
Yeah,
in 1
let's-
second.
Still writing. Do not get
Who,
ahead of the
who all handles, I'm sorry.
go
Let's do
ahead.
the motion first.
Okay, the motion is to suspend payments for 2 months, no late fees. Customers must contact City Hall and notify. After 2 months, they have 3 months to pay the bill back,
So we'll just put 30% on each bill for the next 3 months.
in addition to keeping their bill
Correct.
current.
Suspend payments for people with financial issues.
Right, that call in to make arrangements.
Not suspending
going-
payments across the board for every.
No, just the people that are
They
applying.
must call, they must contact the city and notify us,
Right,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
if you're having financial difficulty, we're willing to work with you and suspend your payments for 2 months.
Maybe you can start that out for those that are having financial difficulties. Payments could be suspended for 2 months and then the payback.
Exactly.
I'll entertain a motion on that.
Julie, your turn.
all right, so
Second.
Motion made by Julie, seconded by Dale. Well, Lynn, you're being left out here.
She's taking notes.
She's typing, yeah.
Okay,
She's
any
taking minutes
further
for me.
discussion? Any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Quick question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Jenny, who all handles those bills when they come in? Or the yellow envelopes when they come in?
Well, I mean, we all work the counter.
Right.
At some point, if we're here during the day, if Matthew goes to lunch and Melissa's gone, but for the most part, Matthew checks the box, Matthew gets the mail, and he,
I've heard, and if fire, ambulance, or police, anybody else can share, I've heard that different things. They said the virus present could live on like a porous surface like that, up to 4 to 6 hours or something like that. are you guys taking precautions, or you thought about that
We-
when you handle these bills to process the payments
We
and stuff?
did, and we thought we would leave them in the box.
Okay.
We wouldn't be checking the box every day.
The library recommendation is 3 days not touching it.
But
So
like,
like in the library, the books, where they opened, books were coming in and staying in a box for 3 days, and then,
Then they'd shelve them again.
Yeah.
That was a good
so
idea.
we would
But you
maybe
don't
check
have
them Monday, you know, after the weekend, so then they've had the weekend to sit there and,
But you don't know, somebody might
Somebody
drop it
might throw
off
it on
early
Monday
Monday
morning.
morning.
well,
or
that's
late
true.
Sunday night.
Glove up and you
Yeah.
put them in a box.
That's what I'm
and
thinking,
shove
just
them
glove
out
up.
instead.
I'll bring you a box of.
I mean, outside in the
medium
cold,
and
that-
large gloves.
Okay, that would be
Bring
great.
you a box of gloves and you can
There you go.
open the mail wearing.
I like the idea of checking it every day and then
Let 'em sit
holding
for
it for
3
so
days.
long. And, because, what's your schedule for entering all of that? I mean, is there a certain date that it has to be entered on?
No.
Okay.
No. And the bills were due today.
Yeah.
So the next 2 weeks are gonna be pretty quiet. Now, the new bills go out the first.
Yep.
So then we might have more, but,
That might want to put that in the mailer with the bill, that if you're having financial difficulties.
yeah. Yeah, we should be able to get something in the utility bills.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
So then the 2 months will start April's, or this month's bill that they will receive in April.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, the next things we have on here, affected residents, concerns from the council. Is there anything that we have not talked about that you people have thought about?
Well, we've talked about it, but I heard it tonight, and it sounds like all of our departments are two things, in need of finding where they can get the supplies, and then in need of buying PPE. Also do have a concern, too, for our employees. What is our policy if an employee were to get sick and needed to stay home for 2 weeks, either self-quarantining or actually sick? What is our pay policy for that?
We have, your first 3 days are paid time off, PTO bank.
Okay.
And then after that, your extended illness bank kicks in, which most of the employees never use it.
Right.
So we have plenty. And
Okay.
we also have a provision in our personnel policy where we can gift so much of our time off
One
to another
person to-
employee if they would run out.
Okay, fantastic.
But,
I have a solution.
can't we, I think that needs to be tracked really closely if people are off for this reason, because there may be some reimbursement for that.
Melissa has a form that she has to fill out to track people's time off.
Right. Yeah, I mean, through the
Because
state
even
or
if they
through the
haven't
federal,
used
that,
it, this is something we haven't dealt with before.
Right.
If we have
Right.
every one of our employees at some point in time possibly using up 2 or 3 weeks, that's gonna eat up a lot of it.
And, you know, Rob, we got similar background when we were younger. We used to be able to get advanced leave. So worst case, we can always bank it against advanced comp pay. So maybe they work Fridays and we pay them now, but they work the Fridays later.
Yeah. If it would
We
come to that, we could
advance
comp.
leave. We could advance leave.
We could comp, or run them negative too, but I
Right.
don't, I think, you know, everybody's got plenty, we would,
Enough
you know,
built up.
I've gifted some to people before, and that's not a big deal,
Okay.
so.
Emergency management, what, and did you pull that to see what we
I did.
actually, we don't put a lot of money into that
Well,
fund.
we don't put
every-
anything into it.
Every year or anything. So, you know, we have resources available. What did we budget and do you have our current?
Oh, I don't have the budget here for what
I'm
we,
sorry.
for emergency management, but it's
Okay.
usually like $2,000 or
1,000 or
something like that,
2,000.
yeah.
I bought that AED.
And I think Troy, maybe when you had it before, it was like 3,000 or 4,000, we cut it in half or even down to less because we never use it. Okay. Well, we've got monies that we've identified for things, something like, one of them is and I wrote it on one of these papers,
That's what they call it.
somewhere.
It's contract affected.
Where we had some levy funds put away, and we've also had some unallocated, but we talked about that, and we used some of those in the budget. We
Right.
couldn't decide exactly what
Little
those
bit of it,
numbers
yeah,
were.
yeah.
But we've got 190K in levy reserves that, Mr. Mayor, I wouldn't mind seeing us take only for the purposes of PPE and any other necessary funds that we may need to buy things right then and there without a council meeting waiting on a council meeting for 3 or 4 days to come together. Take $20,000 out of that levy fund put it in emergency management, and Mr. Mayor charged you with the authority to allow those disbursements to happen with the different departments that need it.
If I may?
Yes.
I like your idea. If he declares this as a local emergency, he can do that for 72 hours on his own power.
But only for 72 hours. I'm talking
If
about giving
we
him that.
agree, we can make it longer,
Okay.
which means if we could take your idea one step farther, if he were to declare it a local emergency, and we agreed with him and we made it for 30 days as opposed to 3 days, for example, then you could, when we go to a local emergency, our powers of
Is that
certain
level,
things
like
change.
level 3 of the League of Minnesota
Certain things
Cities
change, like
one
we
there?
don't have to go through contract negotiations and bids to do certain things if it's for the good of the public
Okay.
emergency. So if he were to declare a local emergency, he would have 72 hours that he could act like that without having to call a meeting or, you know what I'm saying? We can extend that.
Okay.
But it allows us to hire temporary help without bids. I mean, there's a lot of things it opens us up for.
Well, and that was the other thing I was looking for, the personal protective equipment, but also any, if we do have to call up some former employees or standby, we're gonna need money to pay those folks as well.
It's in section 12 of the city's handbook on the League of Minnesota Cities.
Is that what, okay, is that the
It's in
thing that
section-
we got there? Okay, because
I don't know if you got it.
No, I don't think.
that
If you
wasn't
go to
that, this is
LMC
the
website-
pandemic plan I was looking through, and it
If
was
you go to
the
LMC
different.
website,
League website.
Okay, gotcha, okay.
it says right
I
in
have a
there.
copy in my office, too.
But
I
that
can
is
I can
another
grab it.
option we have. So
Okay. Well, we could vote on that and extend that tonight, right?
he'd have to declare it first.
Right, okay, gotcha.
Okay, in order
He
to,
wants to go down that path, or he wants to declare it if the situation arises.
I think that's a good idea.
Well,
Just throwing it out there.
we need to find equipment first,
sir.
and then, and once they do, though, I want them to know that they can buy it.
Right.
Right, in the meantime, before there actually is an emergency,
Right.
we ought to have the supplies on hand.
Agreed. But when they're not out there, how do we get them?
well, my question is, I was gonna ask this, is there a shelf life for like the, is it the N95 masks? There is none. The gowns,
One of
there
the few
no
things.
shelf life for
That's
that?
another thing. Medicines, they've extended shelf life on them for EMS.
Yeah, it was that in this,
Okay.
yeah, the other
But no,
form
there's
here.
no shelf life on the gowns, there's no shelf life on
Yep.
the masks.
I would like to actually see us go ahead and move forward with this and authorize the mayor to do this, and you guys get together and find your source and then put together your list of what you need, and then bring it to the mayor, he'll approve it. We're gonna give him the right to do that, and let's just make this as seamless as possible, because I agree with you, let's do it ahead
Still
of
need to
time.
run it by Aaron to double check it, but.
Yeah.
Well, we can move money by resolution. That
Right.
will be my resolution, to move this 20 grand out of the levy into emergency management for this purpose. So there's my motion, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, okay, there's a motion on the floor here to move 20,000 out of our reserves.
I will second that.
Made by Rob, seconded by Dale. Is there any further discussion? Any further discussion? If not, proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The emergency declaration.
I understand where they're coming from. I'm a little leery of going that far unless we need to.
Yeah,
And here's why. I'd hate to put it in place and not have the ability, or not be able to find the supplies that we need. I think that's gonna be our biggest fear. You can still declare it, you can buy them, we can have a meeting, we can extend it. I don't know if I wanna go down that path.
I don't know what else comes with that emergency
Right.
declaration. I'd like to read up on that before I would act on it.
yeah,
It's still there, he can still do it.
You know Kelly, he's just gonna take
I know-
that
I know he'll
power and
do it,
run.
yeah.
you know how cheap those airfares are to Hawaii right now?
Yeah, that's not PPE.
Getting back to that, does that need a motion to declare an emergency?
Yes, you would need a motion
Okay,
to
so it
declare
needs
an
a motion.
emergency.
Okay.
I will
So let's
send
put-
We
out,
have to have a meeting then.
Well,
We
let's,
would have
But
to
we
have
only have
another
to have
meeting.
24 hours notice to do that. But we could schedule a meeting now, because we've got an admin committee, or unless you're
Wednesday.
canceling it.
no, I want to keep,
We're having an admin committee meeting on Wednesday.
It's already
It's
posted.
already posted. So if you wanted to turn that into, that's, no, we can't.
What are
turn
the
it around.
downsides to,
I
Doing
don't
it
want,
now?
I don't want people to panic saying, well, why is this one mayor calling
Yeah.
a local emergency?
Well-
That's my concern.
yeah,
we,
You know what I'm saying? It's,
we could possibly wait till the council meeting on the 6th too and do it and see if it gets worse, then we probably
I
need
mean,
to.
we've already allocated the money.
Yeah, and
It's
you've
under,
already,
it's under the bid limit anyway.
right.
So we're kind of,
So maybe it's.
Yep.
you know,
Yeah, I want to see what that all says
And I
about,
can send that,
declaring
I'll send that out to everybody today
that.
before I
Yeah,
leave.
just send us a
sense.
link if you will, and I'll go read it as well.
Other
'Cause
questions?
It kind of, I'm sorry, it kind of went along with what was in the pandemic
Right,
thing that was phase 1, 2, and 3, and it progressively gets more involved, I'll put it. So I just wanted to know what more is in there.
Was that the,
The one that Jenny had sent out
Okay,
last
yeah,
week.
yeah.
Right.
I did have another concern, and I know, Kelly, you and I had a brief conversation about this the other night. For a lot of folks in our community that are older, or they have compromised immune systems, or they're just worried about getting out in public, I know you had talked to a couple of the pastors.
well, I have not done that.
Okay, you said we wanted to, and maybe getting the churches involved and getting, working in a partnership with them, and just helping maybe get some volunteers and get some type of, I don't know if it would be through the churches, these folks in town would call. I do know the pharmacy delivers, but what if they need groceries? What if they need, they want to pay a bill or something, or they've got to take something to the post office, they don't want to get out? Maybe if we could work with the churches, some of us, and put something together like that for the community to be able to get
Even if
that
we
out.
contact like, Pastor Bob Miner or one of the pastors and say, could you contact the other pastors and see if this is something that would be feasible?
And that'd be good, and, something like that we can put together local. I'm not saying if someone in town says, Mr. Johnson says, hey, I need something from Walmart, no, you're not gonna do that. But if I can go and get you something at the, what is it called now, Winthrop Market?
It's not Kevin's.
Kevin's, or if I can drop something, if you'll leave it on your doorstep, or if you leave your money and your shopping list, or when I come there, set it on the doorstep, I'll pick it up, and when I come back and get your shopping, I'll set it on your front porch, I'll walk away, and then you can take it inside. Whatever, if we can just do that and maybe offer that. And I'm not saying that's gonna be a government thing, I'm just saying that's something to think about as a community, as churches and volunteers, that we wanna throw that out there. So Kelly, I guess I can reach out to Pastor Bob and see if he wants to, maybe the churches just take that over.
Go ahead, why don't you talk to him about that? Tying in with what he was saying, what I'd like to see is, I'd like to have a COVID-19 committee, and that committee would stay on top of everything that is happening, and if they deem something needs to be talked about with the council, at that time, that committee can make the decision whether or not it's an emergency meeting, or we can call a meeting and do the 3-day wait period, whatnot, but to stay on top of it for all the different sections of the city. And also, try to get a private committee along with that. I want it to be public and private, working together. There's a lot of things that a lot of people in the private sector would like to, I think there are volunteers out there. I don't even know what the questions are, but I know there's going to be needs coming up, and if we could just set something up to begin with, maybe even getting a list of volunteers in town that would be willing to volunteer for different things that may come up. If we could run something possibly in the paper or utility bill, whatever, just saying, well, there may be a need for volunteers, and we're wondering if people would be interested. And that would be just kind of headed up by the COVID-19 committee. And taking on to that, I know everybody loves committees, but I just thought that since Karen is the emergency management director, and you're going to have to stay on top of all of this to begin with, maybe we just make the police committee, police/COVID, and any other council people that would like to be part of that certainly can be. And I'm just dropping that on you now.
And us.
Yeah.
Really, no.
Well, I guess I knew about it.
And again, if there are council people that want to help out with that, or want to be involved with that, you're welcome, as long as you post your committee meetings, which we plan on doing. And on top of that, as far as committee meetings, maybe we have a standing posted meeting once a week for either, for that committee for one, so that we don't have to worry about posting all the time.
Make
And
it a
at least,
regular meeting.
yeah,
Yep.
make it a regular meeting, but make sure that it's posted for every week. And I'm gonna
If you
let,
have no business, you can cancel it.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, but it's posted if we need it.
That's reasonable.
You want a standing posted committee meeting for just the COVID-19 committee?
Right, but it'll be posted, so any council people could come there, and if need be, we could, yeah, or public, yes. And it's just
If we're
the,
gonna, then we should have it up here, if it's gonna
Yes,
be,
yes. 'Cause,
Okay.
Yeah,
The public are
again,
gonna
not
be
in the
invited, yeah.
office down below,
We'll
yeah.
just leave all the chairs in rows 6 feet
Yeah.
apart.
and I'm not talking about getting a big group of people up here, I'm talking about a fairly small committee, 2 people here, maybe there's a couple of people in the community that would like to head up the private part of that.
Right.
And 4 of you could,
I'm thinking
no
the
more than 10.
Chamber, the garden group, you name it, I mean, the Fun Fest people, they're all kind of the same, or even, Winthrop Opportunity, these people, those are somebody that people that we could reach out to that would probably would.
But
work-
just get that
work
core
with us
group to
get this
begin
going.
with, so we can,
Yep.
so we need to start that backbone in case, God forbid, that we even need to have anything, but it's a beginning.
it would be nice to have some people in the medical field on
Yeah, it would.
that committee.
And then the Corvid Committee will do a little more in-depth looking at pandemic planning for the city. Should it get to that, so. All right, that is what I wanted to talk about. Is anybody else have any, is there any? Oh, go ahead.
Just real quickly, I just wanted to give some background about the library, which is not, a
Good point.
life-saving option, but a lot of people, it's near and dear to their heart. The library, the Sibley County Library Board did authorize closing, or order closing of the Sibley County libraries until March 28th. That was in large, it's due to concerns about our own staff and the patrons visiting the library. You can't wipe down every surface and the computers and the books and everything. And even if we hadn't, the regional library system that delivers all the books, so if you request a book from Mankato and the way it gets here, delivery was suspended beginning today. So it was rather a moot point if we had decided not to anyway. So the libraries are all closed until at least March 28th, and then we'll reevaluate.
All right. Are there any questions out here? Anybody come here?
Notification system put in place for the community at least.
What kind of a notification?
In case there was a couple cases in town here, God forbid, just to let the local community know, obviously, keep everybody's privacy intact.
That-
County does.
The county
The
does.
county does
They
that?
pay $10,000 a year to keep it.
Okay.
No one's ever used it up until now, but now is maybe the time we will start.
What does that consist of? What does that mean?
Text, SMS text?
How do they notify
What is
people?
it?
Or do
Yeah,
they
it's-
notify?
I'll have to get, is it okay if I get information? I don't
Yeah.
know.
It works like it works like the Amber Alert.
Like an Amber Alert or something?
Get that information for Wednesday.
Jeremy Templin a couple of weeks ago about it, and he was
Okay.
saying, I mean, it's a system that they have to pay into every year, $10,000, and we've never used it, because it hasn't been a need with Facebook and social messaging and other things. But in this situation, it may be, and I can get all the information on that and send it
Okay.
out by email.
And we can run it past our attorney to make sure, as long as we're not mentioning anybody or where they live, I think putting it on our Facebook or our,
I know social media is great, but the people who are most susceptible is the older generation.
This-
yeah.
Typically don't use social media as much,
Right.
so.
The state is restricting it to county level.
Okay,
They're not telling cities. They're restricting it to county level.
okay.
So, I mean, I get it, a lot of people saying, hey, can we have it by zip code? But no, they're doing it at county level.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming here. We're certainly going to get through this. I think we're situated pretty good, as prepared as we can be. There's some things we're going to work on here. But anytime anybody has any ideas from the community, feel free to call us. Don't come up here, just call. Or stand in the entry and knock on that door.
Just call.
You guys have a time, do you want me to post that standing committee?
Why don't you two decide what's gonna work best?
So we'll get
Okay,
with you
So
afterwards.
just let me
That
know.
was much more
Yeah.
flexible than it
Yeah,
was.
well, that's true, it's a little more flexible.
I'd get 9.
If there's no further
Be 3 minute cleaner while
business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Hey,
Way to go, Lynn.
motion is made by Lynn. I'm afraid Julie beat you to the second.
That's okay.
Oh, did she? Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
She saved her motion for the best one.
Texted him already.
You're way too far away from me to hear.
I said